Okay guys, welcome to Malifaux and the most horrendous picture quality you've probably ever seen in a battle report. I had the flash on and the room was quite dim, and it turns out that was a terrible idea. Which is a real shame because this was a really fun game. My dear old friend Cog has got back into the game, and this must be his first in about a year or something like that. So this game was fairly casual to help him shake off the rust, and me again experimenting with Yan Lo and how to use him when the mission calls for spreading out. For terrain, we've got impassable height 5 blocking hardcover houses, walkways, climbable soft cover, hardcover fences, height 1, height 2 or 3, height 2 hardcover, and the walls of this house are hardcover and blocking, but you can walk inside it through the doors. I think we normally play these as height 1 climbable soft cover, something like that. I don't think it came up. I lost deployment and chose to set up in this corner here, because it means that the flanks are covered more or less by a lot of these hardcover buildings to protect my scheme running guys. But I've also got good line of sight lanes for my bells. I brought a Rotten Bell, the Soul Porter, I forgot the model so I'm using a Necropunk, Yan Lo, with Brutal Kakara, Reliquary and Fortify the Spirit to make him, this is a flexible build. I want practice with each of these, and so I'm just taking them to see what comes up. Honestly, I consider Fortify the Spirit to be pretty much trash, but I'm aware many people seem to like it, so I'm giving it a go to see if my opinion needs to change. Carrion Emissary with Ancestral Conflux, and I feel a bit bad about using this guy. It feels a bit dirty to be using him in a casual game. But he does so much for the crew, it's really hard to leave him behind. Then we've got Toshiro, with Command the Graves and My Little Helper, a second Rotten Bell, and 2 Kamenu. Cog has brought a total ass kicker of a list. We've got an Illuminated, a Beckoner, a Catanaka Sniper, another Catanaka Sniper, Jacob Lynch, with Woke Up With a Hand and the Rising Sun. Huggy D, with Addict and Recall Training, and a third Illuminated. This thing is going to hit like a lead freight train with no brakes. My opponent has declared Outflank, and if he's not taking Assassinate, I'm a monkey's uncle. My game plan is to hide Yan Lo and prevent assassination, use Toshiro to basically take over as master, and summon as many Ashigara as I possibly can, which will help me control table quarters and give me hopefully someone spare to run into the middle and plant some markers. And the Kamenu are going to run around distracting people, because they are phenomenal at that scheme. Now before we get into the game, I just want to talk about a conundrum that Yan Lo players have, and that is how to generate multiple chi on the first turn. In my opinion, Lanyo needs at least 2 chi first turn. If he doesn't get this, he then has to sit around turn 2 waiting for something to die to give him chi, so that he can attach the Spirit Descendant upgrade and actually become a real master. Turn 2 is when things start to kick off and models start dying, but the restriction of having to wait for this to happen, and the loss of control and freedom of movement over the game that means, can be really quite crippling. And I'm increasingly appreciating that controlling the pace of the game and controlling matchups is such a fundamental part of Yan Lo's playstyle. Traditional ways of generating that extra chi are usually done by attacking your own models, such as the low defense Kamenu trying to get a severe damage off with Yan Lo's Spirit Barrage. You could sack the Soul Porter or kill a, what are they called, the bat things, Night Terror. That's pretty wasteful. The best tactic I'm aware of for Reses anyway is to summon a Seishin with Datsubar or now the Goryo and farm chi off them. It's also not a terrible idea to wait for turn 2 when the Carrion Emissary the shards have gone away and left a zombie, and use Yan Lo's Spirit Barrage to kill the zombie. But I'd rather be putting his AP to better use on turn 2 if I can help it. So this crew that I've brought is trying something a bit more aggressive. I've got 2 Rotten Bells to snag an enemy model, drag it as far forward as I can, and then hopefully kill it with something in range of Yan Lo or even with Yan Lo. That way I've got my extra chi, my opponent's lost a model, and I've got 2 corpse markers for Toshiro to summon 2 Ashigaras off turn 2. The other one being the emissary's zombie. To increase my chances of pulling this off, Toshiro's got the My Little Helper upgrade, which he can pop turn 1 to get a card, which is always nice, but more importantly get 2 zero actions, which can be the same zero action, meaning he can make both bells fast and potentially push them 4 inches forward with Mask Trigger, giving them an effective 22-inch range with 6 cast 7 lures off the bat. In corner deployment like this, I think I'm still going to struggle, but unfortunately for Cog, he's decided to play thematically and has got his snipers up right on the mid-board, which is something he may end up regretting. Let's see. Turn 1, I win initiative, which is handy, and I go with Toshiro. Given the snipers are so close, I don't bother to use My Little Helper. We'll save that for another turn. I give this bell fast with the War Fan and get the Lethal Lunacy trigger to push her. But like the total dickwit I am, I then forget to use any of the rest of his actions. Such is my eagerness to get the enemy to me. And companion immediately to the bell, who pulls the sniper off the roof, who takes the damage from the fall, and into base contact for pounce. The other sniper suffers a similar fate from this bell, and he very rudely manages to get a line of sight on Yan Lo and takes a shot at him, doing some damage. I think he might have hit a severe or something, and I soulstoned for 3 prevention. Yeah, that was rude. I think this sniper's chopped at the bell, but hasn't been that effective, maybe done a few wounds, and this Kameno's run round and jumped on him as well, doing some more wounds. And the sniper might already be at 1 wound left. My Soul Porter goes to avenge his master and charges this sniper. Hits him, and I decide to put the cheat on the Carrion Emissary. Hits him again, and I'm going to put the cheat on Toshiro, but then I Black Joker the damage. If we go back to this picture, we can see that Yan Lo is, he's been safely hidden behind the large base of the Carrion Emissary, which was making the shots from the snipers difficult, but as we see, this sniper got around that. And at the moment, it's going to be difficult for him to gain chi from the deaths of the snipers because he's, or at least he can't see this one, this quite far away from this one. And having Toshiro in the way here is quite annoying. So what I do is I hop him over the fence, and then because I don't want to risk shooting into combat, I manage to make the charge, and yeah, that is a very, very dead sniper chi harvested. I attach my Ash Ascendant upgrade, because whilst all this has been going on, the Hungry Darkness is now hiding just behind this wall. He's got casting actions, so I figure that upgrade's the safest one to go with. My opponent's been moving most of his Illuminated and Beckoners and Jacob Lynch off around this way, and he's got 1 Illuminated running off for this corner. Because I attached an upgrade to Yan Lo, the Carrion Emissary got fast, jumped the wall, killed the sniper, and has ended up over here. I think I might have been trying to lure Huggy out next turn. Cast my shards, and then they'll go away, and there's a zombie here. Fairly successful turn 1, I think. Turn 2. I think the Beckoner gets an angle and manages to lure my Carrion Emissary right next to Huggy. So I distract him to force him to either waste his activation or risk giving me points and then drop my markers to stop the Illuminated getting any nasty ideas. However, not being particularly concerned for the well-being of Huggy, Cog blasts away at the combat with the Illuminated from through the window, hitting the Hungry Darkness, doing like 1 wound and getting the scintillating cloud thing. Huggy then proceeds to Red Joker the damage on the Carrion Emissary, and he's hanging on by 1 wound. And here's a picture of them all shooting at him through the window. Lynch comes up and finishes off the Emissary. Over on the other flank, Bluebell lures the Illuminated that was running for the corner closer to her. I'm trying to bait him into charging her so that I can easily distract him, but he's not having any of it, and shoots her dead, which was kind of annoying. Toshiro went and summoned some Ashigaru, that was appreciated. This Kamenu ran into the centre here, which I like this position, as he can, he's in place to drop a scheme marker, he hasn't at this point, and next turn he could run around into this quarter, he could see Huggy through the window and be able to place in combat with him. He's got a lot of options, and this one's managed to get within 1 inch of the Illuminated. And I'm so pleased with this next move. The Soul Porter pushed Yan Lo up, and which allowed Yan to walk to here, I've got loads of chi on him, so he ascends to Spirit Ascendant, and wouldn't you know, Kamenu are spirits, and they're within 8 inches of him. So I use the 2-action Fury of Yomi to make this one drop a scheme marker, and this one interact to distract the Illuminated. And finally I feel like a Yan Lo player. Really happy with that. So at the end of the turn, the 10 Thunders controlled these 2 quarters, and because I was able to turn the Kataneka's Sniper's corpse into an Ashigaru, which ran over into this quarter, I controlled these 2. And also remove Distract. A mistake I made was moving this bell to here. I really should have just moved her behind the house, as I will need her later on to pull whatever model he's got in that corner out. So yeah, that was a bit of a dumb move. Turn 3. Yan Lo resummons the Carrion Emissary from the corpse of the bell and runs around here to hide. And I stupidly forget to heal it with Instill Youth or attach Hunpo Assault to give it fast. So my play turns back to its normal sloppy self. Hungry Darkness rampages out of the building and tentacles the bell to near death. Don't think too hard about that. And then I think she then distracts him and is finished off when this Illuminated comes around the corner and shoots into the combat, killing her. My opponent's got absolutely no fear of hurting Hungry Darkness because he can come back so easily, and he'll do so little damage every time he hits. So yeah, it's kind of hard to keep my models safe from these guys. Toshiro's moving up, summoning some more Ashigaru, and this atrocious picture is just showing how things look at the end of the turn. I'm dropping a marker here with this Ashigaru. I've moved the Carrion Emissary up into combat. I was worried that this Illuminated would escape my Kamenu and get around here, and I make it difficult for me to distract him. So I was ensuring I could hold him in place. I needn't have worried, he just attacked and knocked my Emissary down to a single wound again. So I've distracted this Illuminated, and I've also got my Kamenu around the corner. Did the 0 action to put him in base contact with the Beckoner, who was here, and have also distracted her. Turn 4. Bell lures the Ashigaru into the centre, pushing away from the Kamenu, and runs and hides over by the table edge. The Kamenu pursues and distracts. They are so good at this. Toshiro once more forgot to use my little helper, but continues summoning those Ashigaru, and I've actually run out of Ashigaru models now, and I'm using this punk zombie as one. I've war fanned this one, pushed it down the stairs, and now it's fast. The Soul Porter has come into the mix and has been trying to... Basically, I'm trying to tie up as many of his models as possible to stop them from running to the scoring table edge. This Illuminated ran over to take a swing at this Ashigaru, who survived, and then knocked it back with its tome trigger, charged it for a 1 action, and did virtually no damage, I think. Huggy then charged in, trying to kill it off, and I think this is it red jokering its defense and surviving. But the rest of my guys managed to do sweet fuck all, I think. And there's the end of the turn. I think Yan Lo dropped a scheme marker somewhere under here. We've distracted this guy again, and this Ashigaru has gone into this table quarter, so I'm now contesting it and winning these 2. Turn 5. Illuminated brings down the Carrion Emissary for the 2nd time in the game. This time Toshiro did remember to pop my little helper, and then Black Jokered Warfan on one of the Ashigaru, forgot completely that he had a second 0 action, and then just ran the fuck away to just try to hold this quarter down. Absolutely terrible play, because now my Ashigaru aren't getting his bonuses. Hungry Darkness and the Illuminated murderize most of my Ashigaru, and I can't get away and stop or engage the other Illuminated that has managed to make it into the corner. Finally, both the Beckoner and Jacob Lynch aren't able to bring down the Kamenu. Holy shit, that was ridiculously lucky. I think he Black Jokered Final Debt or something, which means I'm still contesting this quarter. And that is the end of the game. Final scores: 10 Thunders got, I think, only 1 point for Reconnoiter, because on turn 3 I was contesting this quarter because I think he accidentally had Jacob Lynch on the line, and he'd been focused on murderizing my Ashigaru. 2 points for Outflank because he declared it, and no points for Assassinate because Yan Lo is a cowardly little bitch. Rezzers scored 4 points for Reconnoiter, 3 points for Distract, and 3 points for Lie in the Sand, making this game 10-3 to the Resurrectionists. This was really fun. I mean, obviously my opponent was rusty, and his main focus was really just on killing my models, which he did in spades. I think I had to summon about 5 or 6 Ashigari this game. It might not have come through so well in the pictures, but that spot outside the house with Huggy, that was an abattoir for the whole game. And it was all one way. I think I was doing like 1 or 2 damage at a time in total, that the Hungry Darkness and Illuminated just did not care about. And in turn they were munching 2 or 3 of my models a turn. It was pretty brutal. Obviously the snipers being here was pretty huge, and this would have been much more punishing if they'd been further back. From the Shadows is a double-edged sword. And finally, let's just revisit this. I'm so happy with this move. Yanlo's in hard cover, he's got minions nicely spaced around him, 8 trigram style. And he exchanges 2 of his otherwise fairly useless AP for 2 VP scoring actions. This is what I play him for. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about the camera quality, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.